one of the biggest things we need to overcome in our life is expectations. Expectations weigh us down more than we can even comprehend. There's so many other things we maybe think about, but one of the biggest things that I have an awful lot of trouble with, and it's bothered me my entire life, and that's tradition. I don't like following tradition. I like to pave my own path. I don't like feeling forced upon and forced to adhere to this ideology or this just this period to celebrate. Even something as simple as Father's Day. I didn't have my natural dad in my life, but it's not, it was. I don't think it was anything really to do with that. It was the more that you got this regimented day specific to this moment. No matter what you was going through in your own life, um, that day you always had to make time for that, like for that moment, and then everyone comes together. So even if you can't be bothered to see your family members or something, you've got to be around them all. It's just it, and that's what I don't like. I like to do things on my terms, and it's like almost like a gesture in your own time. Not one that's forced on that day. And I've always had trouble with things like that. Bothers me immensely, um, and it goes way beyond that. And upon reflection, it makes sense because it's expectations of others and traditions that force us down a path that maybe we don't belong. Especially family. Like I say, I've been pulling away for so long, but it's like with family, for instance, it's like you feel you owe people something, almost like a loyalty. No matter what they do, you feel compelled to connect with them all the time. And also, the other weird part of that, of course, is that they also feel entitled to you, which is kind of absolutely surreal and strange. So all these expectations, these ingrained beliefs, are things I've been fighting like crazy to eradicate from my life. And I've had to heal that too. I've had to sort of make peace with the fact that what, that's not right. That's not right. This person's no good for me. But I don't care if something's expected of me. It doesn't fit a purpose. It doesn't solve a solution. If anything, it's holding me back. So I've dropped people from my life, people that you would say, oh, you should be loyal to them. No, I shouldn't. They've got no loyalty to me. They've got no loyalty to me. I was thinking just recently, which really got me started on this little topic, even though I've wrote about it in my book, but it's taken like a sideways turn. I'm sort of thinking about a potential romance because I'm ready for romance. I'm ready for love. I've done my healing. I'm ready now. Embrace someone, have someone in my life, and like a team. Love that. And then I just started thinking about, for instance, people's opinions of that, because people inherently get involved in things that are none of their business. And that's the thing with me. I just don't care about people's opinions. Never have. So someone else might think, oh, I'm not sure, or this and that, and having a bit. It's like, oh, stay in your own lane, mate. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about how I live my life. Don't worry about my decisions. I'm good. I'm good. I'm confident about my future, and I'm proud of my progress. Believe me, I'm not stupid. I know what I'm doing. And effectively, the people end up having an opinion of your life. When you look at them, are they lives you would trade? Do they make better decisions in their own personal life? No, they're just opinionated. When I say dipshits. So the reality is, when things go well for me, there's a tradition be damned. People will not be a part of that journey, because that's another thing. Like I say, well, people feel entitled to you. So especially when things are going well, they definitely feel entitled to be part of that. So they, of course, would want to be involved, be nosy, and they'd realise that I don't care. If you're not there today, don't expect to be there tomorrow. I'm alone, and I make peace with that. The reality is, this is a really good way to check upon who's worth being in your life, who genuinely checks up on you. Now, people have their own lives. We can't expect everyone to contact us constantly, but who actually checks up genuinely, not to be nosy, they actually genuinely care. I have my mum checks up on me all the time. We talk nearly every day, and my daughter. These are the two I'm not someone that wants a big circle. I've never craved it. I just want people I can genuinely trust. For me, that's its price in gold. It's worth everything. And that's what I have in those people. So that really means that those that are not within that circle, they are not important to me. It's just this, and that's just the reality, isn't it? But then, like I said, people will feel entitled. So when you're doing well, or there's something happening that sparks a curiosity, they feel entitled to that energy. And it's like, you ain't entitled to shit. You ain't entitled to anything. I don't care if you're interested now, and that's the thing. People might say, oh, yeah, we've come around to this. No, I don't need you. I've gone this far without you. I'm good. I'm good. I'm building my happiness on my terms, not some tradition anymore. There was another situation. It was Christmas past couple of years. I think it was about 2 years ago or 3 years ago. My sister was trying to make Christmas at hers constantly. So it has to fit her schedule, all these rules and all this thing. It's a nice Christmas one year, but I thought I don't want to do this all the time. My parents' home was always the focal point for Christmas. I do like having it at home as well, but my mum's alone now, so for me, it's like I want it there, and if people want to meet up, you meet at her house. My sister didn't like that. Um, And I didn't mind either way. Like I said to my mum, I said, "Look, if you're not having it at home, I'll just stay at home because I have to travel 100 miles anyway. I'm not traveling 100 miles to spend it at my sister's and live by her rules. I don't want to do that. She's doing that so she doesn't have to travel and then she can drink everything. People are funny like that. They'll paint it one way, but really it's another way, and I see through it. So I just said to my mum, "Look, I don't mind if you want to go to there. If you want to spend Christmas with them, that's fine. I can just stay at home. I don't actually mind either way." And she goes, "No, if you're going to come down, we'll have Christmas here." So I said, "Okay, we have Christmas. I'll come down then." So then my sister contacts me and she's like, "Oh, yeah, no, no, no. I think she said she's having it with me." I said, "Well, that's not what I'm hearing." I said, "I don't care, but she's saying she's having it at home. So if she is, I'll be there. But I'm not. I don't want to do anywhere else." And then she's getting funny, thinking, "Well, if you're going to leave it to the last minute, though," I'm like, "I'm not coming to yours. It's like I'm just going to hers. If she's not having it there, I'm going to stay at home." Anyway, she got fed up. She got annoyed because she thought, "Oh, she's chose me over her." But I don't care how people perceive things. It's like maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But the reality is that's where Christmas always was. So although I'm not someone of tradition, that was maybe one tradition I do like is the fact that because our parents get old. That's the thing. It's like you only have so many memories to make with them, and I didn't like the fact that someone was coming in trying to ruin everything when it was working perfectly fine, because I'm not here for that. Like I say, I'm happy to create my own little legacy anyway. And it's those same people that I know will be curious when things go well for me. And it's like, I don't care about. I just don't care about none of that anymore. It makes you selfish, but you have to be selfish. In some areas of your life, you just have to be. If you're going to be a people pleaser, guess what? You're going to be miserable. You're going to allow people to have such an influence on your life that you literally can't even be free, because that's what it is. You release expectations, you regain your freedom. So that's where I've got to now. Now, my boundaries are so strong, and when you establish boundaries, especially with entitled people, it takes time for those roots to grow. People will still. You could set a boundary, and people could just ignore it. But eventually, once you've established it, it's like people now know not even bother. You're not going to do it. For instance, I've got family members who I've absolutely blocked on whatever messaging platform they want to try and contact me off through my phone. That number's blocked, 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 blocked. They can't even reach me if they wanted to. The only way they can get through to me is through someone else, and I don't want to hear it. So that's the point. Life moves on because I'm focused more on my life now. It's like it's my time to shine. It's my time to be happy. Who was genuinely there before? Like I say, I'm on my own. Who checks up on me? Well, don't expect to leech off me later when I'm doing well. Don't try to spoil my happiness, because that's effectively what starts to happen. People sabotage because they always want a status quo. They want to maintain a level of like standard in their life. They don't want most people don't want people elevating above them. It doesn't feel comfortable. So they'll naturally sabotage. And I'm not allowing any of that around me. That is not happening. I'm not having anyone sabotage a relationship, my career, or anything. They don't even get to come anywhere near it. And I don't owe them anything. In the past, I would have helped people, especially those closest to me, if I was doing well and if I had opportunities. But now it's like they've not even invested in me in any way. Why would I invest in them? So there's no point like coming to me when they can see value. But again, it's all these expectations that I've had to release. And it took a long time. It took a lot of frustration on my part because I was always resentful of it. It was always bothering me that you're obligated by this, you're obligated by that. And like I said, it's mostly family members and things. It's like people's expectations of you can be so pronounced that you actually feel obligated. And it's like, that pulls against me as a person. Like that pulls against everything. It's like, wait a minute. I'm having to do things that I'm not even actually deciding for myself. Literally, it's an obligation. Why am I obligated? Oh, because it's tradition, because that's how we expect it to be. That's what people expect of you. It's like, yeah, but I don't give a shit about the expectations. I don't care what people think of me. So why am I doing this? And eventually you start to pull it back a bit. Effectively, you start to release it so you can build your own happiness. So people will have an influence on our life for as long as we allow it. And eventually, you just got to release that, you know? Because, like I say, people sabotage our happiness for their own gratification. So, what does it serve? Doesn't mean release everybody, of course, because if people are kind and they serve a positive purpose within your life, then it's like, yeah, you should appreciate that. But for the most part, most of us have people in our lives who aren't actually genuinely worthy of being in our lives. But it's actually the thing that comes down to is, are you confident enough in yourself to be able to make decisions without them? And if, in my part, yeah, because I don't even respect them. And that's just being real. I don't respect them, so then why would I care? You know, I'm more than happy to do this, traverse this life alone if I have to, because in all honesty, I haven't met anybody yet who can make decisions better than me for me. And that's the way it is, and I don't think I ever will, to be honest. I think I'll be in a relationship where you'll be equal, you know, you bounce ideas off each other, but ultimately we are responsible for our lives. And I trust me complicity, and I know my intelligence. So it wouldn't be diminish someone's thing. Of course, you work together, but I know if I'm ever whenever I'm on my own, I'm more than confident to make my decisions and decide who to cut off. And you know, I think that's another thing that people have worried with that. You know, when it's time to cut people off, so a lot of people are um, insecure. So there's maybe a fear that if I do this, then there's no going back, and if I don't go back, I don't know if it's worth. If people are, you can't keep going that way because that's self-sabotaging, you know? Eventually, you've just got to decide for yourself, is that person providing anything positive to your life? Are they a positive role model? Are they a positive influence? And if the answer is no, then they've served their purpose. It's a life lesson to remove them, you know? And actually finding that confidence and willpower to learn for yourself. So we can establish the status quo, keep people in our life who only hold us back, just because we're scared of the repercussions and maybe the consequence that comes from removing them, or you just do it. And for me, I'm just cutting people off left, right, and centre. You're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. Right, that's simpler now. I ain't got that weight on my back anymore. I don't give a shit if they're pissed off with me. Do I look like I care? So it is what it is. You know, I'm confident in myself. I'm outgrowing all those around me, which is quite beautiful. Wouldn't say financially yet, but I've no doubt that will come in the future. But reality is, as a person, yeah, I'm always evolving because most people don't. That's the sad part, isn't it? People keep themselves held prisoner and captive to situations and people, and then they don't evolve, and they wonder why. They wonder why someone else is maybe ascending higher than them, and it's like, yeah, because they've released everything. They've released themselves to be free and decide everything for themselves. You ain't got baggage weighing you down. You know, the expectations of others just drives me absolutely nuts, to be honest. It's like I can't be around it. And like I say, because you're born into certain situations, those people do genuinely feel entitled to you. It's absolutely madness. You know, I've got family members who they think their life's more important, and it's like to their life should be important to them for sure, but they actually believe their life is more important than yours to you. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. So it's like you should drop everything when they need you, but they will never be there for you when you need them. But it's like almost like you're everybody's there ready for their support to support them or something. It's like you're really weird. You're freaking absolutely insane, in all honesty. And it's like I can't be bothered. So certain family members I either dislike completely and I've cut off entirely, and then there's certain other family members who I'll be polite to for a moment, but I won't be making any I won't be deviating for them or making any allowances, you know. So, for instance, if I had to meet them and you know, it's a situation we bumping into them, okay, I can be polite. Not like I hate you, but if they say, "Oh, do you want to do this someday? Do you want to do this?" and we make plans for that, no, I'm busy. I'm not interested. I'm quite a blunt person, to be honest. I don't really pander to people because I think people need thicker skin anyway. If you can't be honest with people, what's the point of having a relationship with them anyway? So that just proves the point anyway, doesn't it? So if I can't speak my mind and someone's going to get flaky and be ill sensitive about it, it's like, well, you're definitely not for me anyway because we're different people. I rather people direct with me in the same way I'm direct with them, you know. So if someone says, "Do you want to do that?" I'll just naturally just say no. I don't want to. And it's like there's no point probing beyond that because that's where people get nosy, you know. Oh, why don't you want to? Because I don't have to explain it. I just don't want to. Just take my word as gold. You're not going to talk my way around it. Effectively, like one of my sisters, for instance, only ever when she's bored. She'll never make allowances, and I get sick and tired of that. It's like okay, So they expect you to put things on the back burner because they're bored. Do you know what I mean? That sort of stuff. It's like, "Oh, I can't bother you anymore. I'm done making allowances, you know. But actually, it's freed me, you know, because now I've literally what it does. It frees you entirely to build the community you want. That's what it's done. So, for instance, once when I'm in a relationship, it'll be they're the person I'm focused on the most. Then I have my mum and my daughter. I don't really need people beyond that. But, you know, you can make allowances for like colleagues, acquaintances, and things like that. But in terms of my like core group, I'm not. I actually find personally, the more people there is, there's more drama. It's more like strings, you know, think of string as connection between multiple people. For me personally, multitasking that level of connections drives me absolutely insane. I'd rather make the string like a rope between me and people. You know, I'd rather have a really firm, strong connection with that person, and a strong connection with that person, and a strong connection with that person. I'd rather keep the core group small and they're just beautifully, really strong, resilient connections where you trust each other, you know, and you're just aligned, and then I don't have all these other little strings coming off me because all the strings can snap anyway. So some people think it's a popularity contest, you know. Have loads of people, and now I'm really popular. That makes me cool. That makes me really good because you haven't got all those connections, so you're not really that popular. Your life isn't really worth it. Like no one really cares. It's like actually all those relationships you have are very frivolous and very fragile, and you're probably having to be someone you don't want to be just to appease these people. So how strong are any of those connections? Can you truly be yourself and people accept you for who you are, or do you have to play a character to fit in? Because if you do, it's like maybe start pulling some of them strings away, start cutting them, and now how many strings have you got left? It's okay. It's okay to have no strings left. It's okay to sort of like recognize that people aren't worth these people are not worth your time. You felt you was building a community, but really you was just their patsy. It's just people just using you because they can. But what do you actually want, and do they align with you? So then it's like build a stronger community with rope, you know, and that's where I'm at. So it's like cut all those ties, bum, 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 and now no one has sway over me. So when I'm in a relationship, for instance, and if someone ever has an opinion on it, it's like, I couldn't give a rat's ass. What does someone's opinion matter to me? The expectation from others is really irrelevant to my life entirely. It's like I don't care if you've got a problem with them. That's your problem. It's not my problem with them, is it? Um, yeah. So anyway, so I think expectations, in all honesty, I think is the biggest crux to our freedom. It's only when you release that can you finally think and feel for yourself and make decisions. Because with it, you're not free. There's no way you can be free if people if you allow an expectation to consume you, you've literally given up your freedom through an obligation. That doesn't serve anyone any purpose. Um, so I find many traditions aren't fit for purpose. Many traditions are just a burden. And really, it's about who do we want in our life? What life do I want? And does this even align with it anymore? Does it even align? Because sometimes, like the families you're born into and the people you grew up with, sometimes it's like it's all learning experiences. You know, it doesn't mean they have to come the whole journey with you. It doesn't always have to be such a bitter exchange, you know, to end. But it's like think about your school friends and things, and people you've met along your life, even in jobs you've been in and you've left. You know, people come and go. It's fine. It's not always like doesn't always have to end acrimoniously. You know, it doesn't have to end in conflict. Of course, you know, you leave a job, you leave your colleagues leave. You know, so you lose the connection. It's not like you had an argument to leave. But when it comes to letting go of family members, for the most part, you have to sort of be blunt and brutal with them, really, just to establish that boundary. Because they're the most the family members are gonna be the most entitled people to your life, self entitled. They're gonna feel entitled to you because you was born into the same family. That's the hardest chain to break because they have that weird attachment. So you have to sort of like establish a boundary with that and distance, and then hold them accountable. Sometimes you have to just speak your mind and tell them what you think, and then it's just to cut it. It's like again, some things you say, some things you do. There's no going back from. But if it hasn't served a purpose up to today, it ain't going to serve a purpose in the future, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's like a leopard don't change its spots sort of thing. It's like people can heal a little bit, but we know at our core whether we align with people, and sometimes I think we're just born into the wrong families, and that's okay because it teaches us that we're not for them. Because you can feel lonely and isolated, you know, like outcasted even, and it maybe you don't feel worthy. But the reality is they were never worthy of you. That's why it didn't work. All you've ever met is people that were never worthy. So you maybe have an insecurity and go, "That's not fair. I always feel alone, and all these people have each other." Yeah, but they're all dipshits. So like they all gravitate to each other because they've got no morals. It's like I'm not going to forgo my morals to align with these people. It just means I haven't met 'em, my tribe yet, but don't worry, I'll meet them in the future. So that you got to let that insecurity go, and find that confidence in yourself, and just feel that it doesn't matter if there's a tradition established or you was born into circumstance. You can let it go. It's like free yourself. It's liberating. You know, yeah. Everything I've done up to now has been independent. It's but like when I write my books, for instance, I've had family members that don't believe in you. Um they criticize. I think you're a dreamer. All these sort of things, and it's like, oh, okay. Don't think I will never forget. Do you know what I mean? You remember these things, and they'll be the first people that when you're successful, be like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I remember when he was right. It's like you was never there for me. Don't pretend. Don't pretend. Um, so effectively, it's up to us to believe in ourselves, and it's not and to remove those burdens. I'd call them the burdens. Just because you're born into something doesn't mean you're obligated. Okay, family. Let's say you have a good, strong relationship with your parents or one of your parents, but you don't really get along with your siblings. The frustrating part there is that a lot of the time their parents, obviously, they want to keep the status quo. They want to keep everybody together. They don't want conflict. Uh, that makes it a bit harder because you don't want to upset or offend anyone. But realistically, when it comes to our freedom, unfortunately, we're going to have to break any ties. It's going to create some animosity, isn't it? People don't like to let go, and also they don't like to feel they don't like to feel not good enough. So it makes them insecure. So they lash out. So if you're sort of dismissing someone, they think, "Oh, you're too good for me now, are you?" It's like I'm not. Well, I don't want to say it. I'm trying not to say it. But yeah, that's just being true. In my life, yeah, I'm too good for you because how would I be worse than you? I'm not going to leave because I feel I'm weak. I'm inferior. Because sometimes you put yourself around people that inspire you. If you're around people that are elevated above you or they have a higher mentality, that's a good people to be around because it can help you be successful. I've never really had that where I have truly inspiring people around me. For the most part, I've had dipshits. And it's like, let's be honest, but it's like, it's irrelevant that I consider them that. But the reality is, if we're not aligned, we're not aligned, whether I feel like I'm better or not. I just have better morals. That's why I say better because, well, I don't really like saying better, but yeah, if we're going to be absolutely honest, yeah, I've got higher morals. I've got humility. I'm intelligent. All of these things they lack. So it's like, well, on a human level, yeah. So yeah, I can't be around people I don't like, and whether it's family or not. And sometimes family is actually one of the harder ones because it takes sometimes longer to see it. I think that's a thing. Maybe instinctively, you're not quite the same, but you're given the benefit of the doubt because they're family, so they have extra leeway that maybe you wouldn't give other people. And then eventually you're like, you know what? This isn't working for me. We're just so different. There's been things that have happened recently where it's just this entitlement some people have. And the lack of care or humility, for others, that bothers me, where their own privilege supersedes the suffering around them. So they would exploit something as long as it satisfies their needs, sort of thing. I don't live like that. That's completely against my morals. That's just, I don't like disrespect like that. People shouldn't be treated less than in that sense. We're not here to be slaves. Animals are not here to be slaves. Do you know what I mean? Like things like that. It's like, nah, they're not here to serve you. Humble yourself. And that was a big thing for me. That was like the final nail in the coffin for me. Really, it was like, nah, we are so different. There's no point pretending anymore. Like you're trying to be fair with you, but it's just you're driving me nuts. So yeah, we cut the ties. We liberate ourselves. We remove the expectations, and now we are free and literally to pursue our dreams. And the influence around us fades. And that's far more exhilarating, because now I'm free. Like, I don't have anything to worry about because what do I give a shit? I'm just aligned with whatever I want to do every day. The only expectation I have now is of self. That's a beautiful place to be.